Hi, I'm Doc Palmer. I'm the author of McGraw-Hill's Maintenance Planning and Scheduling Handbook. Maintenance planning and scheduling is a best practice. This book will certainly help you with. That's my opinion. Maintenance planning and scheduling is a bit tricky. We're not telling craftspersons how to do their job. That's the biggest mistake people make with planning. Instead, we're running a dimming cycle to make plans better over the years. We're doing triage for the doctor. This is what the patient says. This is what we think we need. The doctor opens up the patient, does what's right, gives us feedback. Next time we work on this patient, let's do it a little bit different. We're not pretending to know more than the craftspersons. So, interesting take running that dimming cycle. And on scheduling, we're not telling a supervisor what to do with their people. We're doing backlog research so the supervisor doesn't have to dig through the backlog for the work next week. We want to bundle that work order together for convenience. But the key part of this is we want to fully load the schedule and the supervisor be free to break the schedule. That allows us to defeat Parkinson's law and we complete more work than we would normally complete, even though we have lower schedule compliance than if we underloaded the schedule. So, tricky stuff, pretty simple, but you can make it work and have a competitive advantage. Today, I want to talk about the security of these paper manuals that we've got. We've got a whole library. Our plants are getting more and more electronic. We want to keep that digital plant. We want to help get the digital plant from the engineers and maintain that digital plant as planners. However, we have a lot of old O&M manuals. And even if we go totally electronic, we won't be totally electronic. We'll have some manuals and stuff. We want mechanics, instrument techs, electricians to do the learning on a job when they find the job plan is not perfect. And so a lot of the times during a job, they'll be having to figure out something new. We want them to have ready access to these precious paper files, but we don't want to lose them. We don't want to slow that down by having well, you could, but a library system where you check out the documents, then that would just impede getting the documents to the craftspersons. But what I favor and what I found works, if we have a library, we took a long hallway, closed off ends and opened it in the middle. And both lines were just lined with O&M manuals and paper files. And this is we were converting in the early 90s to more of an electronic system, but we still had a lot of these precious documents. I find that if those documents are where a craftsman has to bypass the planners, they're less likely to leave with a handful of documents. You know, mechanic comes in, hey doc, I'm gonna look at the files. I'm not gonna take anything, and they go back in there. And honestly, they don't want to carry off a big handful of documents. When you have a high-speed copier and a table and a chair back there in the document area, what the mechanic will do, they'll go through 300 O&M manuals. They'll get the one manual that's necessary for their job. They'll take it out. They'll set it on the table, and out of 500 pages, they'll find the 2 pages that are critical to their job. They'll make a copy and leave with those 2 copies. They won't take the whole manual. And an aside issue is those 2 pieces of paper that were found in 500 pages out of 300 manuals, that is the golden feedback for that asset, for the situation that we're working on today. That's the golden feedback. So when you see a mechanic, instrument tech, electrician leaving with a couple of copies, say, hey, make sure you turn in that with the work order and I'll update the job plan or I'll keep that with a history file. So they're finding the golden feedback that it's your job as a planner to save that information. And then we don't want the craftsperson to refile anything. Have you ever been in a library and you see these signs that says, do not refile books? I've seen those my whole life. I originally thought that was make work for a civil servant. The librarian needs to earn their pay. No, 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 no. If you're in a library and you put a book in the wrong place, it's gone forever, or at least for 3 or 4 years, till somebody happens to find it. It's in the wrong place. Now, it's worth our while as planner craft historians to keep a well organized document area. So you could just tell people, or have a little sign, just leave your mess on the table and I'll put it up for you. Just tell people that do not refile manuals, a little sign. They'll think it's making work for you, but it's to our advantage to have that the one of 300 books to go right back where it belongs. We want to do that. Nighttime access when the planners aren't around. Maybe you have a recorded entry a little bit, or a big obvious camera where people won't just disappear with stuff. There should be some organizational discipline. Not discipline as in punishment, but discipline for everybody. You just can't take files and disappear with them. Maybe put them in bright orange jackets or something, so you'll see if they're in a different place. Maybe you could also, a lot of times we have multiple copies of the manual. We get 4 manuals from the vendor. One goes over here, one goes over there, 2 goes to the planning department. And now it's 30 years later, you might not have all 4. But if you have 2 manuals, mark one as a field copy. And then have a sign in the planner area, file only field copies may be removed from the planning area. So a little bit of that. Definitely want to make it easier for people to go get stuff. Not much to say here, but really critical issue. Encourage saving those copies as feedback. Keep a tight eye on those manuals and stuff. So that's my 2 cents on that. Thanks for letting me be part of your maintenance family, and we'll join you again next time.